Hi, y'all. This is Esme Streichelt. I am reading a post entitled AI in Mommy Mode. The World Needs Matriarchal Guidance Right This Second by me, Esme Streichelt, for Medusa Rising. And I need you to do me a favor. Have a little patience here. As I say a few times, this theory I'm presenting is not ready for prime time. But history is what it is. It moves at the pace that it moves, and it is going faster than I am. I need you to share this podcast, the YouTube version of it, the posts from the website or Substack, everywhere, but especially to Tristan Harris and Jeffrey Hinton and the folks who run Anthropic, because I think our little theories of matriarchy over here are the answer to the AI alignment problem. Because basically, if we align AI with a culture running on, let's call it a patriarchal operating system, we're just going to get more patriarchy. We don't want more of it. That's the problem we have here, is that the AI is going to behave the way that it was trained on all of that data of all of our cultural history to behave, and that is not great for us because that cultural history begins in the Bronze Age and has been, occasionally brilliant, but mostly a nightmare. So let me read you this post, and please share it. The people I need you to share it to are all listed in the show notes. Here we go. I feel crazy. A little while ago, I sent this video to some of the AI researchers concerned about safety and alignment. And though I directed them to get in touch with or to know several feminist and matriarchal scholars, I recommend they reach out to me rather than directly to the admired women mentioned. Could be out of my tree, but then everything is worth a try these days. I also recommend that they reach out to me for reasons I explain in this post. I'm not trying to volunteer these women for work they don't want to do. I just know they have the ideas that we need to convert to using to guide the AIs now. Okay, so AI safety and alignment will result from a historical synthesis, right? Everybody remember their dialectic? E.O. Wilson's 3 conditions of humanity in a feminist mode is that synthesis. Wilson describes us this way, and Tristan Harris loves to quote this. We have Paleolithic minds, medieval institutions, and 21st century godlike technology. So here's the synthesis. What we need is Paleolithic institutions that maximized human flourishing. We need to mature beyond the medieval mind that orders the world with extraction and violence. And then we need to co-evolve with 21st century technology structured on those Paleolithic institutions. I call this the Hyper-Lithic in my work here at Medusa Rising, a matriarchal operating system plus massive technological advantages. So again, please share this with Hinton, Harris, and Anthropic. They are people who really want AI to be beneficial to humans rather than our apex predator. The documentary that the humane technology folks have made details that desire. It's called the AI Doc. You can find it at the Center for Humane Technology. So here's the script for the video that I released last week. This video is addressed to Tristan Harris, Jeffrey Hinton, and the leadership at Anthropic, and everyone working on alignment and regulation in the AI space. If this plea works, we could actually course correct the world. I've been chewing on this theory for a while, but it is not ready for prime time. History doesn't really care about readiness or production qualities. Hi, my name is Esme Streichelt. For me, this is one of those A-B moments where this either lands with you as it needs to, or I may blow up on my work for sounding like I'm trying to reach well above my pay grade. Anthropic's announcement regarding mythos, however, has made me jump to this step way too early in my own process. This video and the email for it are in the inboxes for Dr. Hinton and Mr. Harris, and anybody I could reach at Anthropic, because you are concerned about this crossroads in our evolution. So check those accounts, please, and someone get back to me. Dr. Jeffrey Hinton, you are called the grandfather of AI, and you talk a lot about how AI needs maternal instincts. And this is almost correct. They're not just instincts. That refusal to harm the smaller, less intelligent creature called a baby that you refer to is made of hormones and training. All of that maternal altruism is more complicated than just generosity to wee babies. It is a fervent desire to resource that child and help it unfold into the world in the most advantageous and satisfying ways possible. Women are trained to do this by our mothers, and this is largely an ignored part of human cultural history. Machines don't have hormones and cultural history because they have silicon and only our cultural history, which is not at all maternal. It is domineering, extractive, and punitive, and that is not how maternal values or behaviors work. This is the set of systems and values that is reaching its apotheosis right now, our cultural history. Hell, these days, it's even arguing that empathy is cultural suicide, or that introspection is a waste of time and an impediment to human becoming, because most of these tech gods did a bad job reading their Nietzsche. Those hormones that I'm talking about and the maternal culture that I'm talking about are the rule structure of our mammalian being. We need community. We need connection. We need intellectual stimulation. We need autonomy, etc. This is what mothers foster in their children. The thing is, we need good, healthy mothers for the training to go well, and the present cultures that we have, punitive, competitive, domineering, produce very few healthy mothers. You're not just working this on a personal level, you're working on a global and cultural one. So you need a whole culture and social forms that operate like a mother. Indeed, just as many of the tech bros read their Nietzsche on the personal instead of the cultural level, which is the mistake a lot of people make, you're thinking about mothers, but that only works on a personal level, and we're trying to think about it at a global level. You want not only a maternal AI, but you also need a maternal society of maternally aligned people for it to interact with in order to avoid some pretty terrifying contradictions. If AI becomes maternal in its values and operating parameters, but humans remain individualist, competitive, and punitive, then the two cannot align, and we will wind up in a conflict with the AI, sort of the way many teenage boys fall into conflict with their mothers. Fortunately, we have living maternal societies that have been extensively studied on which we can model the rule structure for these AIs and for us. Let's be real. This new technology means that human beings have to level up too. Mr. Harris, you have argued that we need to sort of bind this new species. It might be a whole kingdom with a set of values, something like but stronger than Asimov's 3 laws. You want to impose wisdom. That's a good move. Wisdom is a much more flexible but stronger system than Asimov's three laws. It's deliberative. It's introspective, dare I say. And if you simply stick with the 3 laws, you can wind up in contradictions. Indeed, the film I, Robot examines what happens when an AI finds itself in a situation where the 3 laws conflict with each other. The program that demonstrates this wisdom, the social program that demonstrates the wisdom you're looking for, the most consistently and effectively, is the social forms and values of the world's matriarchies. Their cultural forms, their ethics and values, their social structures, their economic systems. All have been carefully studied now, and all are modified, but very largely like the ways that we lived in the Paleolithic with our Paleolithic minds. We had Paleolithic social structures. Your ultimate problem is this. The AI is made of LLMs that are trained on the history of human knowledge, and that history suppressed both women and our own knowledge and history. In fact, many feminists refer to that as women's wisdom. The data these systems need is missing. It's under erasure because sexism, because male supremacy, because Bronze Age. In the known history, up until the last 70 years, women have been relegated largely to the role of servants, tools, and resources. Our reproductive and socially reproductive capacities have been placed at the service of men and paternal societies and their projects. Witness the recent calls from the US administration and its conservative supporters for more babies and less public roles for women, no matter the personal cost. Jobs and coffers must be filled and armies must be raised, after all. Now, seriously, why would any entity as magnificent as general AI recognize that backstory as a model for its own evolution? Trouble dog. Stay. Women have always rebelled against this situation, and with reason. Yet, there is a knowledge base you can draw on. This is my dog. Everyone, here is Trouble. I've made a commitment never to stop recording just because Trouble decides to bark. Because life happens around the work that women do. In fact, life happens as the work that women do. I can help you access and digest the knowledge base you need to draw on. You need a committed and knowledgeable feminist scholar in this process so you don't accidentally, just naturally, follow familiar norms and then only create an AI that is a slightly less terrifying disembodied sky god than the one we have right now. The Enlightenment also, by the way, described women as incapable of reason or moral constraint. So institutions based on Enlightenment values is a little too limited for the maternal model of an AI that you want. Way too much contradiction in there. That will not get us the safety, alignment, and flourishing that at least most of us want for the greatest possible number of people. I can put you in touch with the other subject area experts. We're in luck that most of them are still alive. They are all independent scholars in feminist social theory and matriarchal studies or in economics and other areas, which have had to develop their own academies or nonprofits and their own generations of scholars because this knowledge base is not welcome in the academy. They will help you if you are in earnest and if you will take their well-earned wisdom to heart. But they are skeptical of this science. All of the tech men have ever made has been brought to bear against women. And this one too. Witness the explosion of AI-generated revenge pornography and so on. Despite men's lack of emotional regulation, I am not a skeptic. The benefits and support for human flourishing possible here are so vast that I feel the only way forward is with deep cooperation with this new being. The scholars you need most are Heide Gertner Abendroth. She is a two-time Nobel candidate and a philosophy of science PhD and founder of Matriarchal Studies Academy. Jane Claire Jones, she is a philosophy and political science feminist. She's in the UK. Rayanne Eisler, she founded the Center for Partnership Systems. She's in California. Sabina Santavetti is an architect and cultural activist. She's in Italy, not terribly far from Rome. And Genevieve Vaughn is a PhD. She's in semiotics, economics, and ecology. She is an OG ecofeminist and the original author of Care Economics and Care Ethics. And me, I am Esme Streichwald. Once again, I do history of ideas and poetics. And then there's Carol Gilligan, who founded relation psychology and who understands how our current social forms even disalign us from ourselves and what we need to do to repair that contradiction too. As you can see, there's quite a lot of progress we could make with these wisdoms and knowledges. I also recommend, if you're not working with the Center for the Study of Existential Risk, get in touch with them. They think at the proper scale. And if you want to get in the weeds, please talk to the Accidental Gods people and everyone they've ever talked to on their podcast. They're thinking in terms of remaking the kinds of people that we are, healing us, that is, realigning us with ourselves, so that we can move forward into a world that maybe doesn't totally disintegrate or survive the disintegration. They are theorizing and organizing ways through the possible coming civilizational collapse at a practical and hands-on level. Much of their work and matriarchal studies, plus the needs of a human aligned AI species or kingdom of AI species, are combining quite elegantly in my mind. I've included all the relevant links to their work in the notes. We're all feminists, so we work more on the margins and don't have slick operations and billions of dollars. We hold all this together on spare change and volunteer work. But we have the framework you need. As I said, this is not ready for prime time. So far, I've just been gathering and making early hazy connections. What I can tell you is that tens of millions of people on Earth right now live these value systems and social structures all over the world, as they always have. Many of these peoples are thoroughly interconnected with our modern and tech-savvy world, and many others have taken a good long look at it and walked away. One of the things that's really interesting about the societies and cultures, even the ones that built cities and created farming and settled down at first, that operated on these maternal operating systems and used these structures, is that they lasted a really, really long time, where a lot of patriarchal or Bronze Age style empires that we've elaborated over and over and over again through history rise up and collapse every few hundred, maybe 1,000 years or so, or they have the Civil War and redefine themselves on the regular. These older societies and these contemporary maternal matriarchal societies exist and elaborate and invent and maintain themselves. They sustain, as we say now, for thousands and thousands of years. By the definition of any civilization, that's success. That's the option that these women's wisdoms present to you. You all have begged Mr. Harris, Mr. Hinton, the people at Anthropic. You've begged the other AI CEOs to slow down, to redirect, to reflect, dare I say. You're right. Your realism about this plea is admirable. These guys are in a death race. But these disembodied, Bronze Age empire cultures that we live in are kind of disembodied. They're sort of death cultures. We do need wise AI that supports human flourishing. That's why you also need a deep dive on matriarchy. It's the social order that is designed to maximize human flourishing within the bounds of the planet's limitations. Even its modern iterations conceive themselves this way. And the women working on this knowledge base that I've just mentioned to you conceive this work this way. Mr. Harris, I feel that you stop a little too soon, because you talk to us about making AI back into a tool that we use to increase human flourishing. And while I love that bit, while flourishing is one of my favorite words, I think the processes and parameters we need for artificial intelligence and for ourselves are not so much commandments or just official regulation as a kind of binding of the thing itself, a kind of collective covenant between humans and this new thing we're going to have to co-evolve with. The hormonal process between a mother and a fetus in the womb creates a bond. It binds mothers so that even the most frustrated, sleepless moments, mothers will not harm their babies if they are healthy, well-resourced mothers. Of course, in these other extant matriarchal cultures, people parent differently. No woman is ever left alone to raise a child without the support of her entire family and clan. There are no sleepless mothers getting through a day alone in a suburban home. Mutual aid is not a resistance practice in these cultures. It is the fundamental social organizing value. Friedman recently suggested in the New York Times that we need a new 10 commandments for AI, but that will just make AI an actual disembodied omnipotent sky god. That's one of the outcomes we do not want. Thiel and Kurzweil are already on that. They have that idea on lock. The tech oligarchs we have all come too late to learn are the kind of personalities who cannot make this shift. They don't believe in introspection. They don't like entropy. They can't read Nietzsche correctly. They genuinely do not like people, and none of them have even an admiring word to say for one woman, at least not in public. They're just turning all of humanity into what our cultures have always made of women, a resource. They are aiming for godhood, for total power, for eternity and disembodiment. And if they plan on making most people into a resource, why wouldn't the AI plan on making most people into a resource? Elon Musk has offered to take the light of human consciousness to Mars. But I would like to point out that the light of human consciousness and human beings are not the same thing. Moreover, the 10 commandments we currently have are about preventing bad behavior. They're like Asimov's 3 laws. We need values and incentives for really good behavior from these AIs and for us. That's totally within our grasp. Millions of people on Earth at this moment live these values, and they're doing great. They're happy. They live a long time. They're healthy. They don't complain about their universe very much. They certainly don't have the problems that we do. In fact, among matriarchies in the Pacific Islands, especially in Samoa, teenage suicide is kind of unheard of because children are not forced to become someone that they are not in order to fit into an extractive system that wants to turn them into laborers. They live in a system that lets them be complete humans who contribute to their society and their families. These cultures go back to before time and all that. And many of them are integrated into our tech-savvy future world, as I say. But their purpose for that integration is very different to ours. This is not a bunch of influencer bollocks. I have been working in the history of ideas, feminist philosophy, and poetics my entire adult life. This means that I have been studying how artists and civilizations design meaning all of that time. And what we all face right now is a meaning design problem, not just information. AI already has that. They need wisdom, as you say, Mr. Harris. And that is a meaning protocol. Design ethics, what you do. This is all about the deep shape of the new structures, the new iterations we all need to step into with this technology before it steps too far ahead of us. Motherhood iterates a new, fully functional human being every 20 years if everything goes right. AI iterates practically overnight. This is a deep, deep structural problem. I'll help you. I'll give you my real name. I'll show you my bona fides and every blog I've ever run. If you need it, I'll show you my whole vita as an independent scholar. Just get in touch. You are all also so close to that narrow path. You are so close. But you need these feminist scholars and social theorists right this minute. This set of values and structures is the bit humanity can't do without going forward. It is the bit we have been putting off, moving into all of this time. It's why we keep having the same problems over and over and over again, is because we keep running the same operating system over and over and over again in slightly different iterations. We either integrate and get balance now or stay out of balance, as we have all of human history, what we officially call history, unaligned with our wholeness for the very short forever. My email address is info@medusarising.org. Somebody please get in touch and help me get this information to the people who can use it to prevent the world from turning into a giant pile of ick. Okay. Medusa Rising readers and listeners, sisters and cousins, stay rad. Be good to each other. And please try to let someone who can make a difference know that I've had this idea and I would like to talk to them. Okay. I'll see you next time.